Hi, happy Tuesday. Here we are for Testimony Tuesday number 3, and I'm excited to talk about this one because it literally just happened like within the last hour. I actually had another testimony that I was going to share of something that happened like the week before, but God is so funny in the things that he does, and sometimes when he shows you something so sweet and it's just right on time, you shift course and you go that way. So that's what this is. So what I do these days for work is I deliver medication to nursing facilities, and my husband runs, he's in charge of long-term care over the pharmacy, and my kids, all 3 of my kids that can drive, work for the pharmacy. We all deliver, and I always joke and say, we're drug runners, we're legal drug runners. And anyway, so funny. But today, and my normal route at lunchtime takes me to facilities on the west side of Wichita, and then I go a little bit further out to like Garden Plain. I go to Conway Springs. So I was doing my normal routine today, and as I'm leaving my last stop, I get a phone call from our delivery dispatcher, and she's like, "Hey, I have a stat to a facility out east. Like, do you want to take that, or are you available?" And I was like, "Yes, I'll be right there." So I ran to the pharmacy, picked up the medication, drove to the facility on the east side of town. I go in, and I love going to this particular one because one of the greatest things that I think about it is it's not one of your higher end facilities, like the real fancy hotel like ones, which are really nice, and those are wonderful, but it's one where more of the patients and the residents that you see there, a lot of them are on Medicaid or just not in a real luxurious financial position. But what I love about going into that place is the people are so friendly, and the residents are always like eager to see a new face and talk, and there's just such a sweet humility there. And I notice that when I go there quite frequently, which I don't deliver there regularly, but when I go, whether it's 10 o'clock at night or whether it's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. So I go in there today, and when I walk into the lobby, there's like 5 residents just sitting around in wheelchairs and just shooting the breeze, and everyone's like, hi, and I'm like, "Oh, hi, great to see you." I hop on the elevator to go up to the next floor to deliver the medication. Go do that. I come back down, and as I am starting to make my way through the lobby toward the door, I hear a man's voice, and he says, "You have a great day." And I turned and I said, there were 2 men side by side in their wheelchairs. I said, "Who said that?" And this guy he had a black Cowboys star hat on. I think it was Cowboys. And he raised his hand and said, "Me." And I said, "Thank you." I said, "You have a good day. You all have a good day too." And I turned and I took a few more steps toward the door, and this is when it happened. I felt the Holy Spirit say, "Ask." And in that moment, I had a flash thought that my daughter, Sydney, she actually used to deliver to that nursing facility. That was on her regular route for East Wichita. She used to do East Wichita. She did that for a year and a half. And since January of this year, she now does a route that takes her to Emporia and Topeka each day. And so she just does that instead. So she moved routes. Well, I remembered in that flash when the Lord said, "Ask," like he brought right to my mind Billy. And I was like, I turned and I said, "Is anybody here named Billy?" And the guy who told me to have a great day raised his hand again, and he said, "I'm Billy." And what is so cool about this is my daughter had befriended him when she delivered medication there. I remembered his name, the stories she would tell. He was always very pleasant and outgoing like that. And so they developed this little kindred friendship. and she'd deliver there twice a day, so she'd see him quite frequently. And their friendship became such that she had shared with him at one time that, you know, she felt led to buy him a Bible. He had a Bible and he was a believer, because I asked her, like, you know, how did you guys get to talking about the things of God, and how did you make that connection? And she told me that he would say, oh, well, Jesus told me last night when they were talking, for example. So she had that insight from him and knew he was the believer, but Lord had put it on her heart to get him a Bible at one point. And then there were other times where part of Sydney's love language is gifts. Always has been since she was a small child, and it's so beautiful about her. And so then she was like buying him a hat one time, and she just would take him treats sometimes, and they just developed this sweet friendship. And when she got moved to another route, it was a good move for her, but she was very tenderhearted about not seeing him all the time. And so since January of this year, she has not seen him. I think maybe once since then she had gone in. And she'd asked from time to time our regular driver who now delivers there and get an update. And she had heard that he had gone to another facility. So kind of, you know, at that point, just like, hope he's well. And you know, it's funny because randomly she would bring it up every once in a while, like, I hope Billy's okay. You know, like, she just has such a sweet spirit. And anyways, so today Holy Spirit said, ask, and I turned because I got the thought and then the flash of Billy and remembered him, and lo and behold, that was Billy. And so I walked over to him and I said, you are Billy. I said, you are famous in my house. And I told him, I've heard great things about you. I said, my daughter Sydney used to deliver medication here. And he was like, yes, Sydney. And he totally remembered her. And I was able to tell him that she's getting married next weekend. And he was so happy to hear that. And I asked if I could take a selfie with him to send to her. And it was just so sweet. He said yes. And it was just a sweet, sweet encounter. And, you know, I want to, that in and of itself is not a miracle, so to say, you know, but it points to the way that the Lord speaks. Again, sometimes he gives us a flash, sometimes he gives us a thought out of the blue. The beauty that happens is if we are sensitive to that and we just are bold enough and brave enough to just obey. And sometimes it's a turn and ask and risk failure. Or, no, I'm not Billy. Billy's not here. Oh, okay. Well, but in this particular instance, the Lord wanted me to make that connection with Billy, to bless him, to bless my daughter, and in turn to bless me, and to tell you that that is often how he speaks. So there is wisdom, and there is just a joy that comes from hearing him and being in tune to that, and just being willing to just take a risk and get in position and open your mouth. It's that simple. So I really wanted to share that. I was having coffee with a friend this morning that I hadn't seen in person in quite a while, but we're Facebook friends, so you know how that goes. And in our conversation, one of the things I recall saying to her is a verse that seems like the Lord has just been speaking consistently the last few weeks to me, and that is that the joy of the Lord is my strength. And that's actually a verse in Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Joy is, you know, as we walk with the Lord and we go through difficult things, you know, walking closely helps us with having that connection to joy, and gives us that resilience to go through those things, whatever it looks like. And it strengthens our inner relationship with him, and it's fun. So I think the takeaway today, the Lord wants you to know that he is trying to talk to you all the time, and two, that the joy of the Lord is your strength too. So I hope this blesses you. Don't take any small thing for granted. He may be whispering, he may be leading, he may just want you to experience a moment of joy, or be a connector of joy for people that he's putting you around. And so anyways, that's the testimony today. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.